Good morning and welcome to Frank's School. 121st day, 6-year first video. I'm going on with Hydra. Will have an end actually. Uh, it's been quite a while, but little by little I'm dealing with Hydra, I think. I want to show that I now hold prejudice. Well, maybe I have for a long time. I hold prejudice toward Hydra, toward candidates, if you will, for the cutting edge. The cutting edge is over here somewhere. We'll get to it. I found the cutting edge, I think, and I'll tell you about it eventually. But what I mean by that is, is there any use there to find a solution to this dire problem that we have before us? Can you get their attention? Can you get people's attention enough in the first place? Do you even acknowledge that or can you get people to acknowledge that the problem is there? Well, the ones that I sort of wiped out yesterday, I was more specific, I think, about it yesterday in that they have disappointed me in spite of all their sometimes lifetimes of work. And I could have got very personal. I could have really specifically named people, plenty of them, that they just have not contributed to the solution. They have not got enough attention, and they mostly acknowledge the problem, but they have not got other people to acknowledge the problem. Anyway, those in denial, for example, and there are many. Where I live here in South Central Pennsylvania, I am surrounded by people who are in denial of global warming, for example, climate change, for example. But it's much more than that. The fact that growth cannot continue, as it is, it simply cannot. They are in denial, and there are many. It's not just here. I mean, it's worldwide. Well, if you're in denial that you do not acknowledge the problem, well, then I don't look to you for help. The developed world. If people who live in the developed, quote unquote, developed world, I mean the richer nations, they have it pretty good. It's comfortable for them to be in denial. I do not expect. It's not necessarily true that help could not come from there, but that's not where I would necessarily look. These are prejudices. So if I find someone's from the developed world, they're in denial, say, forget it, you're not going to be any help. Those who are rich, if you're rich, that's not quite true in a way. I think of Tolstoy, for example. He was very rich toward the end of his life, and yet he saw things that you would not normally expect from someone rich. But basically, if you're rich, you've got it pretty good. You probably don't want to give that up. So I doubt if you would be of any help. These are prejudices, If you bought a new car, or you own a new car, that alone is enough to make me think, no, I doubt if you're going to really, heartfelt, you're not going to understand the issue if you would do such a thing. Vacationers, those who go off on a vacation, go somewhere else, travel frivolously, get on a plane and fly somewhere for fun, or because they need to escape. Those who take vacations, now, probably not of use. Teachers, you would think, teachers, there's the hope of the future, teaching the children. From my experience, no. It was a shock to me in a way, it's obvious, but a shock when I learned that education was really not a matter of getting people to, there was a phrase for it, lifelong learners, getting students to learn and want to learn out there. No, it was more indoctrination. To lead them into education means lead into a comfortable place in the world. I just don't expect, even though they've spent all that time in academia, they should know so much. I don't expect it. Now, if somebody has a master's degree, already I begin to think probably you have begun to disqualify yourself because you had to spend that much more time in a university setting, in an academic setting, And when I get to PhDs, for example, I mean, there you come to that business of, what do they call it? Peer, I can't think of it. Peer review. You write a paper, you write a thesis, and it's reviewed by your peers. Well, your peers are almost certainly part of the establishment. I ran into that just recently in that, you know, this isn't completely true. I can think of at least one PhD that this does not really apply to. And in his writing, he talked about the peer review of his PhD. He used the term ashen faces of them as they heard what he actually had to say. So these are prejudices, but they are not complete. Nonetheless, if I find out that somebody is using the title doctor, Dr. So-and-so, to me that's a strike against them. It's not a disqualifier, but it's a strike against them. Scientists, same thing really. To be a scientist, you're going to have to probably have that PhD. I think I don't look to them for help. Ecologists, I've spoken about already. Obviously, they're right, but that's not. It wasn't enough to be right. I mean, they did not get enough attention. They're fine about the problem in a way, not very good on the solution. They do acknowledge that's true. Architects, no. Architects are very disappointed in architect. Vernacular, well, later on I'm going to show you, so where is the hope? Well, vernacular architecture, yeah, sure, but not architects. I hadn't better even get into it. Commercial artists, they profane almost to me. I mean, artists, oh yes, there's a lot to hope for from artists, but commercial artists, they're using their art to make money, to keep the growth going. And right with them, advertisers, almost the worst offenders, advertisers. I mean, they don't even deserve to be up here as candidates, so I'm extremely prejudicial against them. Well, prejudice is regarded as a bad thing, but I'm confessing to it. I'm ready to make an exception, but those are not going to be places that I look to for hope toward a solution. Yeah, a solution. All right, bye for now.